It's been another insanely busy week at the Disneyland Resort, but so many festivities are on the way. Friday is Disney Plus Day, and the official return of the holiday season at the Disneyland Resort, as well as Merriest Nights kicking off. Holiday decorations every way you look. The spirit of Disney is back, celebrated not only by the heroes inside of the park, but the citizens of Disneyland ready to get back to the holidays. Fellow citizens of Disneyland, Brickey here on the edge of Main Street, and look who's back in town. After a year of no Disney Christmas, the Christmas tree has showed up. Just one of many things that we'll find on this week's update, where we're walking all around the park, finding everything that's new. And let me tell you, as always here lately, it is a lot. Coming to you a little bit earlier this week because I am the MC and host of the main stage at DesignerCon. If you're at the Anaheim Convention Center this weekend, make sure you look me up doing interviews and running panels on the main stage all weekend long, but that's Saturday. Well, and Thursday, we'll be back live here for our first ever for the channel and Disneyland's Merriest Nights. But right now, let's get started with this week's update and cruise all through the park and show you everything that's new. So we have officially hit that moment where it's full tilt holiday, and the last couple of weeks it's been very fun to watch this transformation take place. This has become a photo spot at the corner of the old ESPN Fun Zone. You may remember that this illustration was there over the Halloween season, and last year all the fans got very excited when this was an illustration of Black Panther, paying tribute to the late and great Chadwick Boseman. Before we get started with all the new things that happened, I want to share with you my first look at the Christmas tree. So here you go. No gimbal, but I thought it would be fun to record my first reaction to seeing the Christmas tree back inside of Disneyland after a year off. Going through the tunnel on the right, of course. Oh, I can see it.
Where'd you go?
That's great. That is so... Look at that. It is so much closer here than what it seems in my lens, but man, oh man, look at you, beautiful. I missed you last year. Wow. That is so great. Just classic vintage Victorian Christmas with the giant candles and the giant ornaments. Man, oh man, do I love that. Tomorrow night it all begins for me, and oh, have I been waiting for this for what feels like forever, which is kind of cool because it's back to giving me that vibe of being a kid waiting for Christmas. Look at you, beautiful. Back to our weekly update. If you guys enjoyed that holiday excitement, coming soon to the downtown Disney district, starting on November 21st, you will be able to do a preview of Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge virtual reality experience that will be putting some life back into the former ESPN zone, which during the pandemic year, when the park was shut down, became a drop zone for limited edition merchandise. So you'll be able to go over to the ESPN zone November 21st to January 5th and do a free demo of Quest 2 of Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge. I believe the first quest came out last year, so this is a follow-up and a fun little thing to do around the holiday season that's absolutely free. You should book ahead. Speaking of book ahead, what about the Book of Boba Fett and what lies ahead this Friday, which is the Disney Plus Day that will be celebrated inside of the parks for the first time ever, celebrating the 2-year anniversary of the streaming service Disney Plus. If you're going to the park on Friday and you have a ticket and a reservation and you are a Disney Plus subscriber, you'll be able to get 30 minutes of early access into the park before anyone else gets there, which should give you a jump ahead on an attraction or two. Aside from that amazing illustration of Boba Fett down on the door entryway, they've created this very fun environmental design piece where they have various characters from different Disney Plus projects that are breaking out of the brick wall. And even though it's not completely seamless, it is a fun interpretation on this marketing display. Over in Adventureland, we have Indiana Jones down for a couple of days for one of its small refurbishments. Nothing to freak out about, but something that you might want to pay attention to if you're going over the next couple of days, and this was something that you definitely wanted to get on. You might want to plan ahead to be disappointed. Over in Disney's California Adventure at Avengers Campus, Spider-Man Web Slingers has switched over to a typical standby line, so it's just the same as every other attraction, now making Rise of the Resistance the only one that has the mobile boarding pass. But this little area, this little nook, I'm very curious about. The landscaping has kind of not been fully taken care of, and I would just love to know what the plan for this spot was and how it changed and why it wasn't annexed into one of the other lands. I'm always fascinated with the seams of how two lands come together. Part of Web Slingers being a standby attraction, they have now put some of the queue through the main corridor of Avengers Campus. So when you come in, it's essentially just one big long line that you get dumped into. Crowds are still lining up for Doctor Strange's performance over in the Sanctum, and because of daylight savings time, I was forced to get to the park a little bit earlier than normal to do my filming. So being over in Avengers Campus in the 4 o'clock hour, the amount of characters I saw was drastically different than when I normally was going through there at, say, 6 or 7. I don't know why Disney puts an expiration on when the most amount of characters come out into the land. Maybe it's a union performers thing. I don't know. But definitely, if this is something that you want to see, if you want to see the characters or someone in your family does, make sure you go to Avengers Campus early and not late, because as it gets later, they just sort of go away. Over in Hollywoodland, as we announced last week, there's an exclusive sneak peek of the Eternals at the Sunset Showcase. And if you go inside to see the sneak peek, you also get to see some of the costumes worn on screen. So as you go through the theater's main corridors, there's lots of different posters. Luckily for the Eternals or for Disney, there's so many characters that they could flesh it out with a poster for every character. But there are 4 different wardrobe items that are on display. And I had to really study these over because this is fantastic costuming. If you look at the different textures that are used and the way that they already have put a patina into these costumes to tell a little bit more of a story, that's all swell, but the stitching and the lines that are put into these suits to make the heroes really seem more special than the average person, to give it that heroic uptick where you feel like you're looking at somebody that just seems bigger in life and more important. But then there's also that next level of all the different emblems and logos that you'll find embossed or burnt into, carved into the leather that they're all wearing. This suit masterfully shows off the female form. It has this fabric that gives a idea that there's maybe a skirt or dress happening, but then there's the spandex style pant that would show the contour. And then there's the breastplate that has these different logos etched into it, as well as the little insignias that go down around. I mean, it's doing so many different things at once, showcasing the female form, but also giving it a sense of strength. Like, these costumes are really dialing in the shape of these characters, but then giving them a extra punch of heroism with all the different scaling that's going on through the stitching, to where every part of their body is fully accented and showcased out. And then this 4th one here, I really love the patina that's added into this one, to where these leathers look old and otherworldly and burnt in, like this is a suit that has been through some battle. I think all four of these do a really good job of taking the person inside and upping the ante and making them feel heroic. But I love all of the branding insignias inside of it because these costumes are telling a story inside of the story. Each one of these characters looks like they have a history. It looks like they come from someplace very important and that their suit is telling their journey, telling their story. I love that deep level of storytelling. The costumes were designed by Sammy Sheldon, who has also done work on Ant-Man and X-Men, so you can really kind of see that same style guide and artistic approach applied to these characters. I just thought it was really fun to dive in and look at these costumes and just see all of the artistry that was put into these characters. So there you go, friends. That was a look at everything new that popped up over the last week. Small World, by the time you get to the park, will be back open with its holiday overlay. This is something we've been tracking. I've been so excited about. Shout out to Big Ed for getting it done single-handedly. He does an amazing job every year. Cannot wait to take this cruise on Thursday at Merriest Nights. Another project that wrapped up this week was the Fantasyland Theater sign that seemed to have gotten a new updated paint job. It looks very good. This Fantasyland logo is how I envision the word Fantasyland. I love this script, having it be painted not just a flat gold, but different shades of gold, so that when the light hits it, it really does look like a Fantasyland logo that you would imagine like stamped inside of a storybook. Love the theatrical mask there. And then it has that style of Fantasyland where there's a little flowers and flourishes painted all over it. And then over here on the far right, you'll notice that there's this little moon insignia. There's so many fascinating weather vanes all over Fantasyland. But on the other side, you'd think there would be a sun, and there is not. And then from the back, it just shows that European-inspired architecture that we see all over Fantasyland, where there's the exposed wood beams with the grassy type roofs, really showing all of the different substrates used to build the village that we know as Fantasyland. Over in the Rivers of America, we can see they're working once again on the interworkings of Fantasmic. Would love to see that come back in the new year. It's just fascinating to me how they can just open up a section of the river. We will not be looking at Pelican's Landing this week because they have, for whatever reason, decided that the top tier of the Mark Twain is now off limits. So Pelican Landing we can't look into, but I have a feeling at some moment in November this is going to come to a close because the restaurant is reopening. Somebody in the comments had a genius idea. What if Tarzan's Treehouse is closed down because they're doing a holiday overlay for Merriest Nights? I give that a 1% chance of being real, but that's just enough for me to hope that it's going to happen because that would be amazing. And then with the sidewalk project that never ends is same old thing. Still Toontown's corridor is cut in half. I have seen, though, that they're laying the concrete in there. And once again, this is something that I think sometime during the holidays will get wrapped up. Not a lot for us to see over in Toontown at Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Although when I'm there, you can definitely hear the noise of them working inside of the building. I'm just so anxious to see that facade get hung on that show building. And an area that I thought always really shined during the holidays was this little courtyard with all the different business with their decorations on it. And the construction walls kind of killing that along with those shops being closed. Oh, that's the price of progress. And look what's missing. The holiday shop sign is no longer hanging in this spot. Send it to me. As I'll make a deal with you, Chapek. Send it to me as a souvenir and I'll no longer complain that you took away my favorite shop in all of Disneyland. Interested to see what becomes of this spot. But yes, they are directing us over to the Plaza Point, which I love. I just was hoping for 2 Christmas shops. I guess I was hoping for too much. And another thing that we've been tracking here is the return of Big Thunder Mountain, which every time I walk past it is shut down. It went down for a few weeks refurbishment. Since it's come back up, I've seen people ride it. I've seen photos of it and videos of it. I've yet to see it with my own 2 eyes. Conspiracy? I think so. That wraps up some of the projects that we are tracking. Now let's hop over into our construction segment before we dive into your holiday updates. I've been tracking this little nook in here where they obviously have a backstage and they're able to bring in supplies. I'm just using this opportunity to really study up on World of Color, which I think is a magnificent show. Understanding how it works is just making it even more special to me. All along the shoreline, I'm starting to see all these secondary projects pop up. While the water's gone and it's turned into Bob Chapek Presents World of Sand, why not get all of the edges taken care of? So it looks like over here some more scaffolding might be put up to where they're going to paint that rock line. Over next to the backside of the Zephyrs, there's this other project that's been happening. Brickey, stop paying attention to those columns and let's get back to the shoreline. Focus. One project at a time. I know you're obsessed with those projection pedestals, but let's get back to the shoreline. There it is. So you can see that they're working on this rock work that's on the other side of the Zephyrs next to the swings. But I started to notice something when I was looking in here. Look at the far edge on the right. See how there's these columns that look like wood spikes and there's like a fence going around it? Is it just me, or does that look like they're making a dock that is capping off what appears to be a stage where the cone is? Now, I'm not saying a character is going to stand here, but is there some sort of equipment that might pop out of that box? I'm definitely very interested because it looks like they're putting a little bit of a dock, and that's definitely a flattened area in this rock work. Maybe I'm making more out of it, but could be cool if something's happening there. Looking back 4 weeks ago, it has existed the whole time. Damn it. But it does feel like they're putting a special attention to it. Speaking of special attention, look at this light fixture underneath the swings. That's the type of detailing I'm here for, baby. Moving back over to World of Color on the shoreline, you can see there's all kinds of walkways that are put around the old beach area leading over to the rock that we were just looking at. They're definitely going around the edges and tightening everything up, trying to get it into best shape. It would only make sense. I mean, think about the cost of draining this. You probably just want to knock out everything that you can all at once. All right, these pedestals where the projectors sit, they broke out the old ones. We saw them put in the rebar. Last week, these were wrapped around in what looked like giant toilet paper or paper towel cardboard tubes. Those have been removed. Now the concrete is there. It'll be fun to see the platforms get installed on top. But there's more coming because this is a pretty big stair system that they have built out into the lagoon. It's definitely going to get some workers up to something of height that at this moment I can't quite figure out because everything sits, at the level that you're seeing out there in the lagoon. Why would they need this staircase? It'll be interesting to see where that goes. Tons of more supplies laying on the flat edge of the lagoon, and you can see they're building some frames, and it looks like this framework is going to stay where it's at because see all the wood blocks below the metal? They're definitely getting it level to that spot. So I guess that's where they're going to build what goes on top of the concrete pedestals there, and maybe that stairway will be a part of another construction. Here's the new photo opportunity, though. You're allowed to come over here and get a photo of World of Sand. I highly recommend do it. Magic Key, canceled holders only. Other construction project that we're tracking is Fillmore's over on the edge of Cars Land. It looks like they're completely taking the dome apart. I'm starting the false rumor that this will be a Christmas igloo. If you could spread that to all your friends, I would appreciate that. We got to get everybody thinking there's going to be an igloo here for the holidays. I doubt it, but it would be awesome, right? I mean, you would like the Christmas igloo too on the edge of Cars Land. So that's your look at the two major construction projects that we're looking at right now. It is time for your Disneyland holiday update, where I go around and show you all the new decorations that have made their way for the holidays that kick off this Friday, and a preview tomorrow night at Marius Nights, which I'm happy to say I'll be there live streaming. You can see the snow's been put outside the ticket turnstiles that you come into the park. The big Christmas tree is in Town Square, which this is such a classic version of Christmas. All the silver and gold, the red, the peppermint stripes. I don't know what it is about it, but it strikes me as like religious adjacent, right? Like it just kind of has that vibe to it where it's celebrating more, the traditional meaning of the holiday season. It's a beautiful tree. Coming out of DCA last night and seeing it poke up over The Main Street train station is such a magical view. But yeah, Main Street is ready. Don't forget, every night around sunset, they do a little countdown to light up the tree. So if you can be over on Main Street to be a part of that little quick holiday countdown, you'll definitely be happy that you're there because it gives the feels. Still, Plaza Point Holiday Shop is the only building on Main Street that doesn't have garland and decorations around it. I'm trying to wrap my head around why this building has been skipped. I'm hoping it's for some big grand reveal, but not expecting that. Very odd. Why would the Christmas shop be the one that you haven't decorated? It's naked. Naked as a jaybird. I do not understand that this is the moment that you stop. I don't know. Maybe something special is coming. Who knows? Maybe there's a grand plan that I'm not seeing here. But when every building looks like this and the holiday shop looks bare, it's definitely interesting. As we come over to the hub where we can see Sleeping Beauty's castle, we'll notice that they have changed the color of the banners on the bridge that takes you over the moat into Sleeping Beauty's castle. First, let's pay our tributes to the man. It's hard for me to imagine that this statue wasn't always there. It is like a perfect addition and fit. But yes, we see the red and gold banners replacing the typical Disneyland shades of blue that they use everywhere. But yeah, we have tracked the castle. It is done. It's got the LED lights spread all over it. It's got the garland wreaths with the ornaments, which I wish they would reduce by a couple of colors, but it's all there and ready to rip. So excited to see this thing come to life for that little light up show that they do every evening. I mean, there's just so many subtle little things that happen around the park that are holiday traditions, like the front facade of Small World, or when they light the castle, or when they have everybody count down to the Christmas tree lighting, Radiator Springs at sunset. Like, I love all these different little customs. There's the gold and cranberry banners from the other side. Definitely interesting. I feel like the traditional blue color that they use would match more with the holiday vibe of the castle. I feel like there's just maybe one too many ideas there. Traveling to the back corner of Critter Country, we can see the little Meet Santa station has been built with these gifts all over the front with that real like animated blue snow or ice that's placed over the gifts. Love how the wrapping paper has the different personalities of the characters. And then this installation, I mean, come on. How's that not make you feel happy inside? A snow version of Winnie the Pooh and his bud Piglet, and then the snowballs there over on the stool. This is perfect, right? I mean, that's just where you want to get a photo taken. I love that they actually have a real scarf on both of them and sticks for arms. Just kind of taking that, Frosty the Snowman story and putting it inside of their world. And then going even further, that there's the snowballs ready to rip, little snow all around the fencing. This land is just a hidden gem. I don't think enough people make it back here because it is a dead end. I always love stepping in there. My favorite tree at the resort, other than the big trees, my favorite land tree is this Adventureland tree, which is the only decoration in Adventureland just days before Merriest Nights and the holidays kick off. Adventureland and Frontierland are probably getting a heavy set dressing the next 2 nights to get them all squared away. But this Christmas tree that looks like it's made out of piping, bananas for garland, some wooden snowmen and lanterns, a skipper's wheel for a star. It just looks like they took everything they could find on the island and made a Christmas tree because they missed being back home. Now, this is my favorite of the 2 big Christmas trees, and I'll tell you why. Yes, Disneyland has more magic, it has more nostalgia, but if we're just going Christmas tree to Christmas tree, I love the time period that this Christmas tree celebrates, right? Like, this is the beginning of Christmas here in America when we really started to, on the bad side, commercialize it, but on the good side, the commercialization created all those different logos and icons, which I adore. To me, that's the better of the 2 Christmas trees. And the genius that said, what if we put a sweater on this gentleman during the holidays? Whoever you are, thank you for your service. I assure you, you don't make enough money for your intellect. And then his two buds, every big dog's got two hangers-oners. We got these folks over here with their necklaces and sweaters on. It's just cool to see the characters of Grizzly Peak celebrate in the holidays. It's just like, you don't have to do this, but they do, and that's what makes it special. And just seeing this gentleman or lady on the edge of Grizzly Peak with their snowboard, their sweater on, wearing a necklace that you and I can buy. It just, I don't know. It's silly. It's fun. It's the holidays. It just makes it special because this will only be here for a couple of months. And that's the fun of this time of year, walking around and discovering all the creative decorations. So long, Villains Grove. Hello, Santa's Grove. Could you imagine if they made a holiday version of Villains Grove where you walk through the sights and sounds of Christmas? I just got choked up saying that. That would be phenomenal. I'm here for Santa's Grove. Make it happen. Now I'm starting to get worried about Hollywoodland because Santa isn't going over this infinity wall that we have that shows you a vanishing point that goes through Hollywood, right? Like this backdrop in the studio. I need to see Santa and his crew flying there. They didn't tease us with it last year, so I need to see that happen. That needs to for sure come back. But the decorations on half of Hollywoodland have already been put up, so we'll just say that it's all a work in progress because they do have to do this overnight, and I'm sure they have goals on where they want to get by the end of the night, and then they have to pack it up because guests show up each and every day. But it is definitely fun to see the vintage holiday decorations show up in this nostalgic part of Los Angeles, retelling the old story. And there's the character that I refer to as the guardian of DCA, protecting this vintage holiday season. So I'm very, very happy to see the Christmas decorations come up in Hollywoodland because after all, Disney's California Adventure and Hollywoodland and Buena Vista Street was all the Christmas we got last year. So it's exciting to see it come back. But there's one key ingredient that's missing, which is the old vintage retro 1950s Christmas decorations. The old candy canes, the Santa Claus silhouettes, the Christmas trees, the type of things that you would see on a main street somewhere back in time. So far, there's just these. The holiday of the festival banners that are going up and down the street. I really, really hope that they don't choose promotion over nostalgia. That would be a crime, a Christmas crime. One of the worst crimes you could ever make. I'll go for a lot of things, but I won't go for that. So I'm really hoping that somehow these polls can be double booked, or maybe they'll do them on the palm trees, but I really want to see those vintage Christmas decorations going up and down Sunset Boulevard because with the Christmas loop that they play through here, it really does make it feel like a vintage Christmas, one of the most magical times in the history of Christmas, because that's when America really got behind it, really started making a commercial, and started to design what we all think that Christmas looks like. We're still a week away. Let's pray that we don't go promotion over nostalgia. Speaking of the food festival, it is popping up everywhere and will be ready to roll this Friday. This is the area where you can get the holiday merch. If you don't do food, I definitely suggest always popping in there and seeing what the artists have come up with for the limited edition goods. The booths are up and down the performance corridor. They are ready for it. One of my favorite decorations inside of DCA is this, I guess it's like a lighthouse or a buoy that has that garland wrapped around it, and then these Small World-esque toy soldiers standing on their snare drums, playing a drum around this. I really, really like this. It just takes something and adds Christmas flair to it and makes it feel like it belongs in this part of the Piers story. I always enjoyed this little island too. That's a fun spot to navigate around. Over on the far end of the lagoon, we have, I can't say it. Viva Navidad. Navidad. That's what it is. Anyways, it's like with my learning disability, I just look at it and I can't get out what it's supposed to say. I have to remember it and not read it. Anyways, this area through here, make sure you come over here. Really amazing Christmas performance. It's one of the best daytime things you'll find during Viva Navidad. Did I get it? Viva doesn't feel right. Anyways, you can see the three caballeros hanging out, having a good time during Viva Navidad. I end up sounding like a weird Italian. I don't understand why I can't do it. Small brain, small mind, but I'm trying, and that's what matters. These banners that they've hung on the bridge going over the Pacific Wharf, I just adore. It makes it feel like this little town is having their annual celebration. And if you really look at the artwork on those banners, it's fantastic. I always say Disney doesn't know how to market themselves. Each one of those Mickey silhouettes could be a phenomenal t-shirt if they chose the appropriate colors. Look at this. One fan has already showed up for the holidays, ready to rip. We saw Cars Land kind of put together. They have a lot more work to do on Cars Land. They have to do the garland over Route 66. Same thing with Main Street. They got to put the garland up as well. But you can see that the Christmas Brigade has a lot of work to do in Cars Land to get it up to its amazing presentation if the holidays kick off this Friday. I checked out the Cozy Cone. This is a fun little spot to check out. The motel lobby here always has some fun holiday decorations. Not too much yet. You gotta love these posters reminding you to watch the Santa Clutch, Cool It Runnings, the Lug Nut Cracker, and I'm sure your personal favorite, right? Everybody loves Snowy. Those are just fun, a fun thing to check out. And then the Horn o' Plenty has turned into its holiday version of the Cornucopia, and I just love anything oversized. Those big boy Christmas lights, I wish I could put those on my home. That would be phenomenal. Friends, it's been a fun couple of weeks finding all of the holiday stuff slowly roll out. I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been so much fun being the Christmas bounty hunter and getting to share all of these updates with you each and every week. I hope you're having fun with this series because I know I sure am. Hey friends, that's going to do it for an early midweek update of everything new that I could find this week at the Disneyland Resort. Drop it in the middle of the week because we've got Merriest Nights coming up tomorrow where we'll be doing a live stream. Friday we'll be dropping in Merriest Nights vlog, and you can find me all weekend long at DesignerCon, where I'll be the MC and host of the main stage, doing interviews and running panels all about the creative arts, technology, and what it means to be a commercial artist, or as I like to say, someone that was able to turn their daydream into their day job. I hope you enjoyed this rip around the park. If you did, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, and if you get a chance, make sure to head over to club1313.com and consider becoming a member of our amazing Disney community. I'll see you back here next week when Christmas is officially going, but hopefully I'll see you much sooner. Thank you so much for going on this week's update along with me. So I thought I was done, but then I realized that I had to eat. And what a place to eat would be Flo's V8 Cafe, which always looks phenomenal at night. But I thought while I was here, I would check out one of the best Christmas trees in DCA. But first, you always have to take in the beautiful, stunning neon of Flo's V8 Cafe. I mean, this is just such a DCA icon. I know you love it as much as I do. But not too often do I eat inside of there. It is unfortunate the word gas is burnt out. And it is unfortunate that this light bulb is burnt out. And nearly every fixture had one or two lights that were out. That's kind of a different quality for Disney. But we'll push that aside because this Christmas tree with the vinyl hung on it is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's the silver Christmas tree with all the ornaments, and it just looks so awesome. And then there's this detail, the 45s and the 12-inch vinyl in there. And if you really study that, it's just all inside puns and jokes about it being in Cars Land. Like, every detail is looked after. Friends, what do you say I sign off with a little bit of Disneyland sight and sounds so you can just remember how amazing the park is? I'll see you with other content, but I'll also see you next Friday when we do our weekly walk around the park showing you everything new that's popped up for your weekly update at Disneyland. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's update.